Dragon Canoe died February 29th, 1792 at Running Water Town from exhaustion or possibly a heart attack after dancing all night, celebrating the recent conclusion of an alliance with the Muskogee and the Choctaw. Well, I'll be. Dragon Canoe done fought in all these Chickamauga wars from the tippity top. He didn't get killed by one op the entire time, stopping these hijacks from encroaching on Nagaland, from stealing your things, from stealing your stuff. On the front lines, man. And suddenly in 1792, Dragon Canoe gets exhausted, boss. Exhausted, boss? Nah, man. Nah, man. We ain't feeling this, man. This ain't acceptable to us. There ain't no statute on murder according to this government, man. There ain't no statute of limitation on that. So it's an open case. It's an open case. Who backdoored Dragon Canoe, man? Shit, who backdoored Tecumseh? We got to start at the root of it all. Do y'all believe Dragon Canoe died of exhaustion after dancing all night, man? Come on, come on, brother. Bully Slayer, take the wheel. Come on, brother. Y'all think he danced too much, man? What was he doing, the MC Hammer, man? Was he doing the electric slide? The Tootsie Roll? I don't know what you've been told. It ain't the butterfly. It's the Tootsie Roll. I mean, come on, man. We gotta really investigate the death of Dragon Canoe. They can't play with us anymore about this dragon business, man. Nah, not no more, man. Not no more, man. Yeah, Sui Gansini, Dragon Canoe, Savage Napoleon. Okay. And that'd be crazy if he was the real Napoleon, though. That'd be crazy, right? That'd be crazy. How Dragon Canoe became his name. What they say? Okay, he was powerfully built, 6 feet tall with a strong face. Deeply pitted with scars of smallpox, these hijacks. They tried to get to him with the smallpox first, thereby making his face look even fiercer, yet still handsome. Okay, man. He's a good looking brother, man. All right, Dragon Canoe. Yeah, man. Wait, Dragon or we're talking about Dragon? Yeah, buddy. Because they calling him Dragon, boss. They calling him Dragon, boss. Dragon, boss. The Chickamauga leader. These hijacks came to fear him, just like Tecumseh, man. I mean, Tecumseh and Dragon Canoe is like Kobe and MJ. You know what I'm saying? It's like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, man. No matter if you was from LA or from Chicago, you gotta respect the skills, the real skills, man, when you look at Kobe being Bryant, man. Kobe Bryant, man, and of course MJ, you know what I mean, Iverson, of course, man, one of my favorites right there. You know what I mean? It's like, so which one is better? I mean, one raised the other, Tecumseh was raised by dragging. He was raised by dragging. Tecumseh was fighting in all these Chickamauga wars, man. You know, and Dragon was the leader. Dragon, Dragon. They can't play with us. They can't play with us no more, Bo. You know, it's a great PDF. Hey, pull up all the links, my niggas. Get the drop. Chief opposer to white settlements on Indian lands. Come on, man. Chief opposer to hijacks on Naga land. How come they don't teach us about dragging in school? Y'all think he just died of exhaustion? Yeah. Kentucky got a lot to do with this, these Kentuckians and these Ishmaelites, boss. Go get the jobs, man. You just catch up. Catch up, man. All right, man. We're talking about dragging canoe. Where's this part? It says how dragging canoe became dragging. Okay. Yeah. Dragging canoe went on a warpath, boss. And this happened after they gave up so many. How much land? At least. All right, man. Look at here, man. But I can listen to me, man. They gave us so much land. Dragon Canoe went crazy. Dragon went on a warpath, man. It's what they do, man. At this point, what they do, man. You know what I mean? Like, y'all giving up Ohio, Indiana, y'all giving up Kentucky, and y'all just giving up states. Of course, it wasn't no states. Y'all just giving up territories. Y'all giving up the Carolinas. We just giving up land. We getting pushed back. A lot of my Nagas ended up in Cali because this is what it was. You know what I'm saying? They was on a warpath, man. But Dragon Canoe had to go on a warpath, boss. Hey, we on a warpath, boss. Hold up, man. Where's my drums, man? I forgot we was on a warpath, man. Normally, in the Prester hour, we got these drums popping off, man. But just for now, man. Yeah, man. I'm gonna get my war drums going on for Dragon Canoe, just so you can understand what being on a warpath is all about for a con, man. Cause you never got off this warpath. This ain't something that the hijack retired from being a hijack. Show me an example in history of the hijack having some repentant moment and turning 180 degrees and becoming righteous. The hijack ain't never became righteous as a group, my naga, as a group. So they must still be on a warpath. Their granddaddy was on a warpath. Their grandmama was on a warpath. Nigga, they on a warpath. So we on a warpath. Oh, wow. Wow. Calm down, drop. If at any moment I'm going crazy, just say calm down, drop. They love to drop nation. The water for all my niggas, you know what I'm saying, just supporting everything we doing, man, and just keeping the lights on, keeping the water flowing, keeping niggas uplifted around here, man. You know, I be getting donations from Drop Nation sometimes, man, and times where it's like, how did you know? I just want to hit you up, be like, how did you know that, you know what I'm saying, this was necessary right now, man? So the water to all my niggas dropping donations, whether it's on the Cash App, PayPal, everything you're doing. I know our site is down, so if you really dropping it on us, you really like looking for us and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like you really trying to find us, man, to support us, man, and you know, lift us up in whatever way. A great comment, whatever support you're giving, just your prayers, everything is you know truly for us. It's irreplaceable, you know. Like it's something that we can't replace. You know what I mean? Drop Nation is something that is more than one person. You know what I mean? It's the water that flows and connects us, connects our tribe in every frequency. You know what I'm saying? That we can meet each other in whatever crossroad, whatever, you know what I'm saying, towel, two cross sticks coming together that can, you know, intersect my nugget. Like this is the intersection. The dragon is the intersection. The X is the dragon. You know what I'm saying? So um, there's a lot of intersecting lines in this journey. You know what I mean? Like you meet new niggas and you grow and you have new experiences, my nigga. And it's all a part of your town. It's all a part of you connecting. You know what I'm saying? So be careful, you know what I'm saying, how you connect, but don't be afraid to connect at the same time. You know, find the balance. You know, use discernment, use wisdom as you grow. A lot of us are hungry for connection. That'll make you, um, you know, what's it called? Careless. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be careless because you hungry for connection. You know what I mean? Be patient and connect with yourself first. And when you really connected with yourself, you ain't so thirsty for connection like that, you know, with anybody like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you are comfortable within you. You know what I mean? So your warpath sometimes is the warpath within yourself, man. Getting the evil, you know, wild beast out of your mind bone. Shout out to Sylvanus told Texas in the Nag Hammadi script, man. We're talking about Drakan Canoe, and you know, he goes on a warpath, boss. Yeah, they just yielded 20 million acres. So he said, look, man, what was this? 1792, they say he died. Okay. So all this no major war was major land being given up. All this provoking and provoking, it wasn't like Dragon Canoe was just trying to pick a fight. He's fighting people that's on his land that shouldn't be there, man. I need you to get this through your mind bone, through your thick skull bone. We ain't these wars aren't us picking fight with whoever these people are. This is not us. The Tecumseh War is not Tecumseh on another continent. So you're talking about your priest kings and queens right here at home. Right here at home. Queen Sheba, Queen Khalifa right here at home. Fighting the Spaniards or whatever you want to call it, man. We're talking tribes, man. We're talking swarthy, man. They're not picking on people. Ain't nobody that can put them down, man, and say that they was in the wrong for defending their land when nobody else would, man. Because they saw what was coming. And were they wrong? 200 years later, were they wrong, man? Was Tecumseh wrong for standing up? No, you see what the hijack is today? Everything you don't like about the judicial system and the government, this and that, this and that, this and the economy, this and the corporation, this and the police, that. This is what they was fighting against, man. Don't you see? Starting back with the Barbary. Babar means swan in Hebrew. Babar means swan in Hebrew. Shikamaru. So we talking about. Okay. All right. So understand this Moroccan Treaty of Peace and Friendship coming in 1786, right? Came on the headbone of the Shikamawa. It couldn't have been with the Shikamawa. So we're narrowing down what 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 we've been blinded from, which is the light. We're seeing clearly, which is what a dragon is. It means to see clearly. Last time I checked, in etymology, yeah. Ah, 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 ah. Wow. Third man hand rub. I'm just talking about dragon. So my point is, the water to all my knockers that see clearly. Ain't got that deadly glance, which means you got that look in your eye. You ever see an opponent with that look in their eye, and you're like, all right, yeah, this is a dragon. I gotta dragon up. Or maybe you see your mama, big mama, got that look in her eye, and you're like, damn, it's all bad. It's all bad. You know what I'm saying? That's that dragon. But to have that look, you gotta have the breath, right? All right. Ooh, ooh. To have the deadly glance is to see clearly. To see clearly is to have the look, my nigga, the breath, the or the sound, right? You breathe in. Breath, man. It's a revelation. It's the look. You don't got no look without no breath, man. Now you can have a secure wow, right? You can punch, you can kick with security. That is protection because you got the breath. But without no breath, you ain't got no kick, you ain't got no punch. Your jujitsu don't matter because you ain't got no breath anyway. The submission don't matter because you ain't got no breath. HaWah, 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 the fifth and the sixth letter of the Paleo Picto Hebrew. We're not making this stuff up. We're reading the alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet. That's how you got your Zion. That's how you got your Zion. It's with the breath, the look, and the security. Because you had to walk through that door, my nigga. Every day you had to walk through that door. You got up in the top of the soul, you had to walk through that door. Right? You went to train, you went to exercise, you didn't feel like it. Man, you did it though. You walked through that door. Now there's a different you where you could have been a different you, but you now a different you. First, you had to gather, you had to move through that door, but not without the strong power, the leader going into your house, your family, your body to give you the inspiration. So Abba was there from the top to give you the power to be a strong power in your family, in your house, to gather, To gather your own thoughts. To gather your own thoughts. Because without you gathering your own thoughts, what is it, man? Teachings of Sylvanus. In whatever translation you can find, a lot of times they try to make it real Christianized and put a bunch of stuff in there. But, if you can just get the drop out of it, man. Get the babies out before they hijack it. Get the babies out the bathwater. Abolish every childish time of life. Acquire for yourself strength of mind and soul. And intensify the struggle against every folly of the passions of love and base wickedness. Whoa. And love of praise. Let me get it from the top, man. We in the hood, man. Let me get it from the top, man. Woo. He just body bagged everything that you should be working on regardless, man. Yeah. This is, man, we talking teachings of Sylvanus. Now, is it the Sylvanus Totaxis Solomon the Builder? It depends, because that's just the title, but it sounds a lot like Solomon. It sounds a lot like Solomon. Let's go. Abolish every childish time of life. Acquire for yourself strength of mind and soul, and intensify the struggle against every folly of the passions of love and base wickedness, and love of praise, and fondness of contention, and tiresome jealousy, and wrath and anger, and desire of avarice. That's all my niggas trying to slide on each other. Fondness of contention. You're fond of the beef. Tiresome jealousy. You're so jealous of each other. It's just tiresome, man. You're so mad all the time. It's tiresome. Anger and desire of avarice. Again, you just desire the interference pattern. You don't want to be in the wave. You desire the interference, man. Guard your camp and weapons and spears. Listen up, Managa. What is your camp? What are your weapons? What are your spears? Let's go. Arm yourself and all the soldiers, which are the words. Let's go. So the words are the what? Arm yourself and all the soldiers, which are the words. The words are the soldiers. The soldiers got the weapons. The soldiers are in the camp. So if the words are the soldiers and the soldiers are in the camp, then what's the camp, my nigga? Leave a comment. Let me know what the camp is. Say drop. The camp is, whatever you think it is, man. Let's pop off. Drop Nation. We on a warpath, man. The price is going up, Kyle. I can't make this stuff up, man. It's all happening. It's gonna be the greatest drop ever dropped. This is gonna be the greatest drop ever dropped. I don't even know the title of this drop. We just drop it. We just drop it, man. We just drop it because I miss dropping, which is dangerous for hijack city, man. Because we patient niggas. My balcony surface, what it do? Off the balcony, man. Guard yourself, man. Guard your camp and your weapons and your spears. Arm yourself and all your soldiers, which are the words and the commanders, which are the counsels in your mind as a guiding principle. My son, throw every robber out your gates. Guard all your gates with torches, which are the words, and you will acquire through all these things a quiet life. But he who will not guard these things will become like a city which is desolate since it has been captured. Whoa. Whoa, boss. Come on, man. So the camp is what? The words are what? If the words are the soldiers, who are the commanders, man? What are the councils? And your mind as a guiding principle. My son, my daughter, my ak, my aqua, my ban, my baat. Throw every robber out of your gates. Guard all your gates with torches. What gates? Which are the words. The torches you're guarding with are the words. And the words are the soldiers. And the soldiers have the weapons. They have the torches. Naga, we popping off. We on a warpath, boss. Can y'all leave a comment and just let me know? Say Dragon Canoe is on a warpath, boss. Let's go. We on a warpath, man, and the frequency is real. We all been going through it. I've probably been going through my hardest, most difficult, challenging time. You know what I'm saying? All around recently. And my noggins that's still rocking, rocking the wave with a noggin, man. I appreciate y'all so much, man. That y'all let me know that even not being at full power, man, not even being a part of full power, I still got the wave, man. And the wave is growing and the wave is spreading. The seeds are planted. The trees are sprouting, man. The fruit is popping off, man. And what do we got? We got life. We got that. Wow. But it starts with throwing every robber out of your gates. Guard all your gates with torches, which are the words. And you will acquire through all these things a quiet life. That means you ain't being hijacked. But he who will not guard these things will become like a city which is desolate since it has been captured. You've been hijacked. All kinds of wild beasts have trampled upon it. What are the wild beasts, Monagas? For thoughts which are not good are evil, wild beasts. Say it again, Drop. For my Monagas on the warpath. For thoughts which are not good, thoughts which are not good, thoughts which are not good are the evil wild beasts Sylvanus is telling you about, popping off on. You might not think your thoughts are a frequency, but thoughts are a frequency. Love to Jay Stu, man. Never forget what my bro Jay Stu told a Naga, man. He said, "Our thoughts, are thought, is thoughts." You know what I'm saying? I was like, whoa, hijacking our mind bone from the tippity top with our thoughts. That's why you got to get to know your dragon, because most of your thoughts are not your thoughts. Thoughts which are not good are evil wild beasts. Love to J Stu. A hop to my comment. And your city will be filled with robbers. What are the robbers, man? And you will not be able to acquire peace, Shalom, but only all kinds of savage wild beasts. The wicked one who is a tyrant is lord over these, right? While directing this, he, the wicked one, is beneath the great mire. The whole city, which is your soul, will perish. So when it says your city will be filled with robbers, boss, that means your soul is being hijacked. Your soul is being captured. All the celebrities, talking about selling their soul. They should have guarded their gates. Lauryn Hill got a song called Guarding the Gates. We bump it all the time at 432 to Drop Radio. Look out for us. We're coming back harder. We're coming back stronger. We're coming back with torches. Sometimes I take a step back to take a dragon a dragon leap forward, man. Because I am it. We are it. We got it. We don't have to rush it. If you it, you it. Con, you are the con. There ain't no other wave, my nigga. You are the wave. Do you notice that? People talk about our information. They got YouTube channels. They monetize the crap out of them. They're pumping the information left and right. You don't see us doing that, man. We just gotta flow. I don't, make no type of income off of YouTube ever. YouTube has never been my income. You know what I'm saying? So it's been pure water over here. Um, one day, like I said, I'll be trying to, get my flow together. Having 6 drops, it's a lot going on. But one day I would like to drop more clips and maybe monetize those clips. The most I've ever making out of YouTube on 1 month is less than 100, like 100. You know what I'm saying? I made $100 off of YouTube, probably at the most. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful, man, that we've been able to be pure water. Like this, we didn't start YouTube to monetize and to, make no bank and all that. We've had to truly get it out the soil, man. You know what I'm saying? And be from where we are, represent it, man, and survive. A lot of it has been survival. And right now we're training our cons to have strong minds. You know what I mean? And if you exclude them robbers out your gates, then we can tribe up even stronger. And if we tribe up even stronger, then we ain't gotta want for so much and we ain't gotta do so much and work so hard because we're working for HaWah. Like we're helping each other. You know what I'm saying? And maybe there ain't never been no black unity because black is an invention, man. But it's been tribal war from Cain and Abel. Maybe we've never been unified as black people, but my tribe that is code keepers by the heart, maybe you don't do it as perfect and genuine as you know you can right now, but you are listening. You listening. You over here acquiring the knowledge, the information, the vibration to take them steps, man, and walk through the door. Walk through the door. So you can't say you don't know me no more, right? You walk through the door, you can't say you don't know HaWah no more. HaWah, not the man, but the big mama with her arms up, giving you that breath, feminine. Inhale. Exhale, masculine, security. Wow, that's what you throw that punch with. That's what you throw them kicks with, right? So you exhale what you have inhaled. Feminine, masculine. HaWah, framer, shaper. Now you got your food. I can't make this up, man. This is written in the code of creation, in the language of creation. You gotta walk through that door. And you gotta do it every day. And you gotta do it with every thought you have. It's multiple. You don't stop walking through that door. The moment you stop walking through a door, that's the moment you giving up. You're not, trying to be transformed into the best part of you. You've given up. You don't want to walk through no more doors. They say a lot of old people start walking through doors, right? They become stubborn. Oh, she's stubborn. She old. She don't want to walk through no more doors. But to my OGs that are challenging themselves, man, to this day, you in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, your 80s, your 90s, hundreds, you popping off at 432, you walking through a door, you challenging everything you ever knew, everything you ever been taught by the pastor, by the imam. You said, I'm a Hebrew, Khan. I don't have no other prophets outside of Israel, Khan. Now they making a show, a public display out of what they doing over there in the so-called Middle East, but that ain't got nothing to do with true Hasharah and the tribes of Jacob found right here in America. Found here, Copper Color Con. You walk through that door, but first you gotta gather yourself. You gotta come home. Guard your gates with torches. The gates, now you're talking about your mind, bone. The torches, that flame is the dragon, which is the word. With the word, everything was created, which is the frequency, the vibration. And you will acquire through all these things a quiet life. Shabbat Shalom. You deserve that rest. You deserve that sun. You deserve the food. You deserve the cutoff. You deserve to be cut off from all hijack, man. All that. Remember the wave pattern, quantum physics, right? It's all happening when it's not being measured. But you want to measure something. You want to observe. And through the power of observation, just like in quantum physics and science, a particle knows when it's being observed. When you observe the particle, you collapse the wave pattern. That could be good or bad. By observation, you collapse the wave pattern. What are you going to collapse? What are you going to collapse it on? It depends on what eye you're seeing through, what the intention is of the measurer. In the Masonic flow, they got the measurements, they got the scales, but the scales are dragon scales. And the dragon means to see clearly. To see clearly means that you see the plan. The strong power has as it enters your family, your tribe, yourself, and you start gathering your thoughts, right? You start gathering your tribe. You start tribing up, and you enter a gate. Now, what are you going to do at that gate? You're going to guard the gate with torches. Torches is the dragon, and the dragon is to see clearly, boss. Torches, seraphim in the script, Isaiah 6, the seraphim, highest order of the angels are the dragons, are the torches guarding the Garden of Eden from other dragons, other robbers. You want that quiet life. You don't want to be hijacked and invaded, do you? What's the point of teaching your kids, teaching your children to drop? What's the point of teaching them to drop if they ain't got that quiet life? What's the point of teaching them to drop if they ain't got that shalom, no protection? Manage. What's the point of teaching them to drop if they don't have the breath or the security It's a dragonfly perspective. Wow. Boop, ba, boop, boop, ba. So to all my Nagas, man, been working real hard getting all your packages out all week, man, and got a big shipment coming out today, Friday, man. So whatever we don't get out Friday will come out Monday. Just be patient with a Naga, man. Me and Chef Candy popping off for you and the water for all your donations, all your support, man, all your contributions. Cause my cons, man, like this is you know from the soil. You know what I'm saying? This is from the spiral, so feels truly a-hop to spiral up with y'all and to know that, what I'm saying, we're reaching a checkpoint together. We're going to keep building on this until we reach the Tau, the mark, the sign, the signal, the monument, man. This is your story. That water, that sea, that wall. A-hop. Shout out to Joy World, man. Hey, what's in your fence, man? Don't worry about what's in our fence, man. What's in your fence? Hopefully you got some food, some breath, and some security, man. You guarding your gates, getting that quiet life, that zon, that food. What's the point of having food if you don't have that quiet life? You want your children to eat and not have a quiet space to eat in? You want them to eat and not have shalom? You want them to have nourishment but no shalom? You got to cut off the hijack. You got to divide the hijack. You got to surround it, surround your gates, right? With torches, my nigga. Let's go. Which are the words, and you will acquire through all these things a quiet life. But he who will not guard these things will become like a city or a soul which is desolate. Hijacked since it has been captured. All kinds of wild beasts have trampled upon it for thoughts which are not good are evil wild beasts. And your city will be filled with robbers, and you will not be able to acquire peace, but only all kinds of savage wild beasts. Now you are invaded by your own thoughts. You are conquered by your own thoughts. You are a slave because of your own thoughts. You think you're weak, so you're weak. You think you're a slave, so you're a slave. You think you're captured, so you're captured. Tell that to Dragon Canoe. Tell that to the cons. Tell that to the cons all across the earth plane. Con. Ooh, 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 ooh. So I was thinking, right? Since Dragon Canoe died, they said 1792, something like that. What they say? I got a lot of tabs up, my knockers, so you gotta be patient with a knocker, man. You gotta be patient with a knocker around here, man. Okay. There we go. All right, 1792. Maybe I'm overdropping. Y'all let me know because I'm popping off. Got flat flat drop maps popping up. You're like, man, where you going, drop? Maybe I'm overdropping. But if I'm not overdropping, man, leave a comment. Say, drop, you are not overdropping. I love your comments, by the way, man. I appreciate the comments, man. So say, drop, please keep dropping. You're not overdropping. All right, so Dragon Canoe died February 29th, 1792. Now, they say he was dancing all night long, right? Dance all night. He was doing his Lionel Richie, man, right? So he just concluded an alliance with two people. All right, this is the investigation of Dragon Canoe. We gotta look into this. The Muskogee, we gotta look into Muskogee. We gotta look into the Choctaw. Now, we've been talking about the Choctaw. I ain't over here trying to hit the Choctaw over the headbones and say, what did y'all do? Nah, man, y'all don't know. I'm not saying the majority of the Choctaw people know what happened at Dragon Canoe. But I'm saying this was an important death and an important kill for the opposition. They didn't kill him on the battlefield. I want you to understand. They killed him the old-fashioned way, the JFK way. They killed him under the table because he done been in all these battles, but suddenly he can't handle dancing all night long. He done been in all these battles, but suddenly in 1792, he just dancing all night long, right? Then that's when they get some major more, they get more land after that. So understand. With the Muskogee, you got the upper Muskogee, you got the lower Muskogee, you got different groups being compassed into one thing. It's not just one tribe. Same thing as the Choctaw. The Choctaw is not just one tribe. It's a confederacy of tribes. You know what I mean? The Chickamauga specifically is a confederacy of tribes that didn't do no deals, right? Didn't sign no treaties, right? Okay. Native American group. Okay. When they say Native American, of course they're we're talking 1700s, 1800s. So we got to look at the 1828 Noah Webster Dictionary. And the definition of an American boss in 1828. Originally, which means there ain't no other origin. This is what it is. The Aboriginals, okay? Or the Nagas that are the complexion of of Big Mama's penny, right? That old copper colored penny, right? Like this whole area, that's the penny. That that deep red, ruddy, reddish brown. I'm not talking about, I'm just talking about reddish brown, right? Copper colored races that were found here are the Americans. You were found here by other swarthy Europeans, right? Swarthy, dark Europeans. So when you hear Native American, this is primarily what we're talking about. The others would try to graft themselves into this tree because it gives them some type of, roots. It gives them some type of roots, but they'll give you your roots while clinging to your roots at the same time. And that's really the make and the mark of a hijack. That's hijack city. Instead of just giving you your roots and saying, look, clearly you're the root of the tree. They got to say, hey, but me too, boss. Me too. But you're not the definition. You're not the definition. So without including yourself into the definition, just let the definition be the definition. Let these Nagas have a land of their own because they were just found here. Who? The Native American groups. Now this specific copper color group separated from these other Cherokee, right, that wanted to make peace with the hijack Americans, not the Americans, right? Not the 1828 Webster Dictionary found here, copper colored cons. No, not you. Now they took your titles and now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America, boss. So the hijack rule, remember the hijack playbook, the hijack rule is that they can be born anywhere in any foreign land, anywhere across the earth, anywhere across the earth. They could be born in any of these lands and then take the title of that land. That's like a disease or a parasite spreading into any part of your body and now claiming that part of your body, man, because it was born there. That's hijack city, and we on a warpath, boss, because they've been on a warpath. I do it for my Nagas all across the plain. I do it for my Nagas locked down in the prisons because they got us in the prisons still. We in the prison camp right now, man. You got to guard your gates, and your city will be filled with robbers, and you will not be able to acquire peace, but only all kinds of savage wild beasts. The wicked one who is a tyrant is lord over these, while directing this, he, the wicked one, is beneath the great mire. The whole city, which is your soul, will perish. Remove yourself from these things, O wretched soul, which is the city. Bring your guide and your teacher. The mind is the guide, but reason is the teacher. They will bring you out of destruction and dangers. Listen, my son, listen, my daughter, to my advice. Do not show your back to enemies and flee. Oh no, boss. But rather pursue them as a strong one. This ain't no turn the other cheek Naga. No, this ain't no JC, boss. This is Sylvanus to Texas. Solomon, he on that David flow. Be not an animal with men pursuing you, but rather be a man with you pursuing the evil wild beast, which is your thoughts, remember. Lest someone, somehow, they become victorious over you and trample upon you as on a dead man, and you perish due to their wickedness. Oh, wretched Naga, will you do? What will you do if you fall into their hands? Protect yourself, lest you be delivered into the hands of your enemy. Entrust yourself to this pair of friends. reason, and mind, and no one will be victorious over you. May HaWah dwell in your camp. May his spirit protect your gates, and may the mind of divinity protect the walls. Let holy reason become a torch in your mind, burning the wood, which is the whole of sin. And if you do these things, Manat, you will be victorious over all your enemies, and they will not be able to wage war against you, neither will they be able to resist, nor will they be able to get you in your way. For if you find these, you will despise them as deniers of truth. They will speak to you, cajoling you and enticing you, not because they are afraid of you, but because they are afraid of those who dwell within you, Manak. The guardians, the dragons of the divinity and the teaching. Woo-hoo. I'm talking Sylvanus of Texas. Genealogies never connect this. You know what, man? In 1792, where Tecumseh died of exhaustion, there was a lot going on. The presidential election of 1792 was going on. Yeah. Talking George Washington. George Washington was popping off. What does George Washington got to do with the Washington? Can we narrow down those who were the ops of Dragon Canoe and who would want him dead? Who would want him backdoored in a party where he's celebrating? 100. He's celebrating. He's celebrating the recent conclusion of an alliance with the Muskogee and the Choctaw. And if he did die of exhaustion that day, that means he was so excited about bringing them together. If that's what if that's what the real spill is, that means his heart was so pure that he danced all night long. After fighting in all these wars, 20 years of fighting wars, he danced all night long to where he was exhausted. Because he was celebrating, he was happy about the alliance with the Choctaw and the Muskogee. That's how much he wanted his brothers and his sisters together. I want you to think about that. Every Naga should have a heart bone for Dragon Canoe if that's where his heart was. If he literally had a heart attack because he was so happy dancing and celebrating the alliance all night with the Muskogee and the Choctaw, man, then when we talk about Happy Naga Day and Happy Naga Strong, man, the Muskogee and the Choctaw should be on the front line remembering Dragon Canoe. The Choctaw were also celebrating a recent victory by one of their war bands against the Cumberland settlements, a legal governing body forming in 1780 to establish the efficient government of the early settlers along the Cumberland River in the area of what is now Nashville, Tennessee, or Tennessee, Tunisia. Tunisia or Tennessee. Yeah, all right. The association was formed upon the signing of the Cumberland Compact. I mean, that's a whole nother drop, man. That's a whole nother drop. 1792. So much was happening in 1792. In 1792, the second presidential election, George Washington. Birdman and Rubbo. Now we gotta look at JW a little different. Now that we understand that Dragon Canoe was assassinated during an alliance celebration with the Choctaw, with the Muskogee. Oh, really? In the same year the Dragon was assassinated, here comes JW, unanimously reelected President of the United States Corporation in 1792. Did we understand beforehand that this was during the Chickamauga War? I'm trying to put it together with y'all real slow because 1792 is this re-election situation, right? So here comes JW in 1792 after all this time of Dragon Canoe and the Chickamauga fighting on the front line to keep these hijacks from getting more land. JW gets reelected in 1792. All this is a continuation of the Swan Night Wars, all up into the Tecumseh War, 1811, 1812, 1813, which continue into the Same Creek War, Seminole Wars, right? Piracy Wars, the St. Barbary War, but bar means swan, we're still talking Swan Nights. All back into the Cherokee War, right? And the Cherokee War ties into the Seminole and the Texas and the Mexicans. The Moshe is the Meshi, and the Sim is the Shem. This is all Hebrew war. This is all Hebrew war. Texas Indian Wars, all throughout the 1800s before they finally get to the Banana Wars, which is still the same more and more war. Now we're talking World War II, 1900s. All throughout 1800s, it's all Indian wars. And I'm telling you, my nugget, when did you have time to be a homeborn slave? When did you have time to be anything other than an American? This is you. Then they said you African. But the Africans know that you American. They know that you the con. They know. They ain't ready to give the whole continent of America to somebody who is not looking like you. But just because they look like you don't mean they are you. Because some of them that look like you found you here, boss. Copper Color Khan. It's a tribal war. Who backdoored Dragon Canoe in 1792? It was a great year for George Washington. I can't make this stuff up, right? Unanimously reelected president of the United States. Okay, carrying large and small, everyone was voting for him. Why? They said, please, if you're gonna help us with these Indian savages like Dragon Canoe, we will reelect you 11 more times, man. All right. I mean, you look it up. All right, 1792, Treaty of Jassy ends the Russian Empire's war with the Ottoman Empire. That sounds like another Hebrew war, you know what I'm saying, against the Moor, right? Moab, Ottoman, you already know what it is. We already know what it is. The Rus is the Russian. The Russian is the Rus. It seems like the same war is happening everywhere. Boss. 1792. His Majesty's Indian allies, 10 notables. So, this is a little site talking about those that were allied with the British. And if they were allied with the British, remember what the British also looked like. We're talking about Black Britain, right? Oh, come on, man. They keep taking down the real history, man. That's crazy. That's crazy, dog. Okay. Man, they take down the whole website. They took down real history. WW. You see us going through it at 432drop.com, rebuilding our website. Look at this, man. Look, man, all praise the while we got, a lot of screenshots and stuff, man. But, man, look what they doing in real time. But you know it by now. My knockers know it already, man. If they talking about Britain, we talking about them cons, man. We talking about them cons. You know what Charles E. Boy looked like in them, man. That's crazy, though. Man, they can't hide it forever, man. Y'all can't hide it, man. Can't hide Black Britain, man. Yeah, man. You can't hide it. This was on that other website, but they took it down. That's crazy. You see, it says Real History WW. Now they took, man, that's crazy. This is what the Holy was. They trying to hide, man. So when it says you were invaded by the European, you know what the European looked like. This is the first European emperor of the Inca. He hijacked the Inca, now he got the Inca. Gold. Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, 1500s, 1558. Same time Columbus is finding you, 1492. All right, let's go. So in Britain, in the UK, and Scotland, we still had a lot of allies. And I believe this is who Dragon Canoe and Tecumseh was connecting with. This is from allthingsliberty.com. In many respects, it was a sobering testament to Britain's mounting resolve to suppress the revolution at all costs. It is His Majesty's resolution, explained Lord George Germain, that the most vigorous efforts should be made and every means employed that Providence has put into His Majesty's hands for crushing the rebellion. Yeah, man. They're crushing the rebellion against the crown, right? Allying against other people that are against these so-called rebellious ones. You know what I'm saying? That just wanted to spread out and be parasites and take over things. You know what I'm saying? But really, as we see it today, it was all one thing. You know, it wasn't like some white British and some white Americans. These were Nagas on both sides, and Nagas in the UK and Nagas in Europe fighting the More and More War, and Nagas in America fighting the More and More War. So you allying with the British doesn't mean you ally with white British, sentiments. It means you ally with somebody in Europe, you know what I'm saying, in the UK or Scotland or Ireland or whatever the case was. Same thing with the Americans. Either you with the Americans or you with them jabronis. You know what I'm saying? You are allying with Andrew Jackson and them trying to invade Tecumseh in the Battle of Thames or Thomas, left the Dizzle 50, or you with the real ones that's protecting the land and try to get the hijacks off the land. You know what I mean? So, it's interesting. I mean, this site right here, I think, is a good place to investigate. You know, most of the ones that they're putting that were allied, so called, with the British were some of the realest ones. Yeah, I mean, right here in the more and more war in the front line right here in America. Um, you know, not everybody was perfect. Some people was making, trying to make better treaties, or they're trying to, find some type of way to preserve their clans. You know what I mean? I'm not here to judge anybody, but, um, for the most part, a lot of these mentions right here, are some of the realest ones on the front lines. They got Joseph Bryant. He was born in obscurity in the backwaters of the western frontier, but by the close of the Revolution was regarded as one of the most legendary Indian ally of Great Britain. His exploits as a raider elicited outrage from the highest levels. It is in the highest degree distressing, wrote George Washington, to have our frontiers so continuously harassed by this collection of banditry under Bryant. In other words, Bryant was putting that work in on George Washington, right? George Washington was reelected the same year that Dragon Canoe died. And George Bryant was a big part of the Chickamauga flow. Dodge all these pictures and stuff. They ain't gonna give you no Nagas that's really rocking right here. They don't want you Nagas knowing that you Nagas, but just know that this Naga, Joseph Bryant, was a Naga. You know what I mean? Possessing extraordinary powerful intellect and irrepressible determination, Bryant was destined to distinguish himself. Born a Mohawk, Christian and Anglican or Anglican, Bryant received formal education from the Reverend Elizar Willock, the founder of Dartmouth College. He was not a hereditary chief, but rose to prominence in the Iroquois Confederacy due to his inherent ability to lead. So, in the story of Joseph Bryant, like they tried to use him really on both sides. He had the revolutionary part, but they were also trying to use him to kind of like simmer things down too. You know what I'm saying? But it's a great story to dig on. Then of course you got Dragon Canoe. No other name could strike fear other than that dragon, man. No other name could strike fear. Such fear in the isolated settlements of America's southern backcountry. And for good reason, the Cherokee chief Dragon Canoe initially rose to prominence for opposing the accommodationist policies of tribal elders, including his own father, at the 1775 Treaty of Sycamore Shoals. Appalled that the older chiefs were willing to sell a vast tract between the Kentucky and Cumberland rivers, a furious Dragon Canoe ominously warned Transylvania Company agents that it was the bloody ground and would be dark and difficult to settle. He made good on such threats despite the protests of British agents who canceled coordination with Crown forces. Dragon Canoe and the militants who effectively seized control of tribal leadership helped instigate a full-scale war in 1776. So Dragon Canoe popped it off. To me, he's the realest of the realest because there wouldn't be no Tecumseh without Dragon Canoe. And remember, Dragon Canoe's on a warpath, man. He's on a warpath, boss. All right. And then you got Blackfish, man. He was the bane of the Kentucky settlement. So we talk about the Kentuckians and the Ishmaelites and all that stuff. Go get the drop. Um, you know, Blackfish was on their ass, man. You know what I'm saying? A respected war leader of the Shawnee Kicklawcote band, Blackfish proved the Kentuckians' chief antagonist. He's the chief antagonist. He's the chief bad guy of the Kentuckians. The Kentuckians are the ones that killed Tecumseh. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, obviously Blackfish was tribed up with Tecumseh, tribed up with the Chickamauga, and he's the chief antagonist at the outset of the war. All through the summer of 1777, Shawnee war parties harried the settlements, but were unable to dislodge the Americans from the crude stockades in which they sought protection. That winter, Blackfish scored one of the greatest coups of the Western War, capturing a party of nearly 30 Kentuckians. So you see, those were the ops. Now, I just want you to see this real clearly, like you see, you know what I'm saying, the gang wars, gangland today. This was the ops. This was, Tecumseh against the Kentuckians, Tecumseh against all these hijacks, forming, confederacies, making treaties, man. Tecumseh was tried up with who? The Shawnee, some of them, right? The Creek, some of them. Some Choctaw, but not all Choctaw. You know what I mean? Some Muskogee, but not all Muskogee. Like some Seminole. You know what I mean? It's like it wasn't, completely. What they say, absolute. You know what I mean? That's the best way of putting it. Like you can't deal in absolutes and say, "Oh, the Cherokee did this." We're not talking all the Cherokee. We can't say the Choctaw did this, the Chickasaw did that. We're not talking all Chickasaw. You know what I mean? We're not dealing in absolutes. We're talking about, we're just following the story, the antagonist, the protagonist. You know what I'm saying? And Blackfish, man, is the chief antagonist at the outset of the war. All through the summer of 1777, right? Shawnee war parties harried the settlements but were unable to dislodge the hijack Americans from the crude stockades in which they sought protection. That winter, Blackfish scored one of the greatest coups of the Western War, capturing a war party of nearly 30 Kentuckians, including the legendary frontiersman Daniel Boone. So that was a big capture. The following September, Blackfish was at it again, attempting to negotiate the surrender of Boonesboro at a council with 9 of the settlement's leading men. The chief, according to the Kentuckians, hatched an unsuccessful ruse. Getting up, reported John Bowman. Blackfish made a long speech and gave the word go. Indian warriors abruptly seized the Kentuckians. So he gave a long speech and then he went up, right? He went up in a furious tussle, during which the chief was thrown to the ground. The white man miraculously escaped to the stockade, man, ushering in the legendary siege of Boonesboro, which ended in failure for the Shawnee. I mean, that was his plan, man. And you got the link, man. You got MST Seguro. We got the Creek Naga, man. He popped off, man. You got Sayan Kora Gata. Alright. Recon him, man. King of the Senecas, man. Alright, we're talking about New York City. They called him Old Smoke, man. You want to smoke with Old Smoke? Huh? Known as Old Smoke? Silver-haired old warrior of the Seneca, man. Recon him. Recon at Goose HaWah. Ottawa chief, nearly forgotten today, but in his lifetime wielded tremendous influence over the remote tribes of the modern Michigan. Remember, the G's and C's are interchangeable. The Gan is the Khan. Meshi is Moshe. So you're talking about the Khans of Moshe, the Ottawa, the Chippewa. British authorities had good reason to court their assistance. Even the Ohio tribes regarded the warriors of their Michigan neighbors as the wildest people. So you see how these you see how these hijacks play both sides, man. Whether you're talking British or American alliances, all them. Like we couldn't foresee the type of evil that was coming to our shores. We just tried to do the best we can for our family, in those moments, serve them. But when HaWah say I'ma bring the worst of the heathen, HaWah brought the worst of the heathen. Recon Captain Pike, man. We're talking about the Delaware chief. You know what I'm saying? Recon that nugget. All this is popping off in the same time as the Chickamauga Wars, man. Recon Naga Pluggy, man. Oh, you don't know Pluggy got the plug? Who got the plug? Pluggy got the plug, man. In the opening years of the Revolution, there was no greater blight on the peace of the Western frontier than, in the words of the Virginia Council, the obstinate and wicked disposition of the said Indians of Pluggy's town. Oh, man. Pluggy was put in major work. Better known to the whites as Captain Pluggy, man. All right? He's a Mingo leader, man. Plucky man Notoni was an inveterate enemy of these hijack Americans at a time when many native leaders clung to tenuous neutrality. Happy Naga Strong. Hey, Naga Week, Naga Strong ain't just 1 week, man. It's every strong. We got 52 strongs in a year. It's all Naga Strong, man. We're talking Mingos. We're talking Captain Pluggy in there, man. Ain't nobody else talking Pluggy. We talking Pluggy, man. We're talking the Seneca, largely composed of Iroquoian or the Iroquois Seneca Cayuga, who steered their own course, man. They didn't do all these treaties, regarded by these hijacks as little more than a maverick banditti. Pluggy's Mingos lived up to the reputation, marauding across the Virginia's back country with a persistence that infuriated state authorities. Man, they infuriated the hijack. I love the Pluggy, man. Shout out Alexander McGilvray, man. Yeah, he was educated, son of a Scottish trader. But what, man? But what? At the outbreak of the war, McGilvray was in Charleston, where he had received an education, including studies in Greek and Latin, at the behest of his loyalist father. By the summer of 1777, at the heart of the Chickamauga War, McGilvray was back among his mother's people, the Creek Nation. Uh-oh. So we had a lot of Nagas like this that were educated and all these things. They just weren't some savage Indians that they want to paint these pictures of. They were highly educated. And they came back to their people with that education, man. And these Creek, my Naga, they're fighting side by side with the Tecumseh. They in the midst of the Creek War, right? The Creek War is the War of 1812. Which is why you see the continuation of these creeks still popping off. Still popping off. The creeks kept popping off with the Seminole. All right. So this educated nigga came back, tried up with his mama's people, the Creeks. He was the most effective at gathering intelligence, bolstering Britons, standing among the Creeks, who were at best lukewarm allies of the crown. So the Creeks, they messed with some of these British, you know what I'm saying? But they were at best lukewarm allies. Like they didn't fully trust everybody, which is good, right? This is good. And they would use these educated Nagas to kind of make a bridge at the same time, you know what I'm saying? You know, we don't know what we don't know. What was the plan of Alexander? As a warrior, he was considered something of a flop, although he did had contingents of Creek warriors in the field, most notably in the defense of British held in Pensacola. He was apparently more adept at leading from the rear. So, you know, he was an educated Brainiac. It wasn't like a frontline Naga like a dragon canoe, but still, man, he was in them. He was in the things, man. He was in it, and it's just like any hood today. Not every Naga gonna be some frontline warrior Naga. Some Nagas, can do more planning. Some Nagas can do more infiltration and intelligence or whatever you want to call it, man. But man, I definitely got to dig on my Naga Halal HaWah, man. We got to dig on the Ottawa chief, man. For real, for real. Constantly led Ottawa contingents in some of the frontier's most legendary campaigns, including Mohawk Valley, 1777, Vincennes, 1778, and Kentucky, 1780. Ishmael is joining these Kentuckians, right, on the head bone of the Chickamauga. 1792, they're saying Dragon Canoe died of exhaustion. George Washington gets reelected. Proclamation of August 26, 1790. This is 2 years before the death or the assassination of Dragon Canoe. Regarding treaties with the Cherokee, the Choctaw, and the Chickasaw. Interesting. Not all the Cherokee, right? Because the Chickamauga were the Cherokee that didn't want to make no deals, no treaties. So we're talking about the hijacks. This is the more and more war right in your face bone. We're talking Washita or Washington. I know it's small. I'm trying to get the whole thing. Well, let's go. Let's see if I get like this. Let's read this small part together. Whereas it had at this time become peculiarly necessary to warn the citizens of the United States against the violation of the treaties made at Hopewell on the Code on the 28th day of November, 1785. This is all during the Chickamauga War. And on the 3rd and 10th days of January 1786, between United States Corporation and the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw nations of India. The Chickamauga Cherokee were the group that separated from the greater body of the Cherokee. So these Cherokee they talking about, this greater body, that's not the Chickamauga Cherokee, right? Because they separated from the greater body of Cherokee. Because the majority of these Cherokee chose to make peace with the hijack near the end of 1776. Yeah. So by the time Tecumseh's tribing them up, they've already made deals and treaties with the corporation. And the more and more war and the treaties of Morocco. Morocco, you can't have it both ways. These are your treaties. You gotta claim this shit. Right in the thick of things, cuz. I can't make this stuff up. Between the United States hijack and our own brothers and our own sisters right here at home that fight against us, that fight against Tecumseh. These are the tribes that fought against Tecumseh. In our last effort, man, Tecumseh's last effort to tribe them up, he tried to tribe up the Choctaw, he tried to tribe up all these Nagas that were part of the Moorish treaties. They sided with the hijack against us right here at home. Oh, you gonna come back weeping once you see clearly. And to enforce an act entitled An Act to Regulate Trade and Intercourse with the Indian Tribe. Intercourse with the Indian tribes. Hijacked the Indian tribes. Copies of which treaties and act are hereunto annexed, I have therefore thought fit to require, and I do by these presents require, all officers of the United States as well, civil and military. That's what it's all about. To govern themselves according to the treaties, military. We need military to give that force, that martial law, according to these treaties, because y'all supposed to help us. Cherokee, you supposed to help us against your own brothers and sisters, Choctaw. Remember, you signed a deal with the hijack. You got to help us. You can't help the children of Israel. Remember? Chickasaw, remember? Don't make us remind you. Yeah, don't make us require out of you, military and all citizens, because you're on the boat, all slaves and inhabitants thereof, to govern themselves according to the treaties, and act aforesaid as they will answer the contrary at their peril. If you don't help us conquer your brothers now, we're going to kill you now. We're going to take you out at your own peril, peril, peril. You can't go contrary to the treaty given under my hand in the seal of the United States and the city of New York, 26th day of August, AD 1790. And in 1792, Dragon Canoe is gone. Assassinated. Backdoored. 15th year of the sovereign independence United States Corporation. Signed George Washington. What happened in 1792 that got Dragon Canoe backdoored, man? He made an alliance with the Muskogee and the Choctaw. So if George Washington got reelected the same year, Dragon Canoe made an alliance with the Choctaw and the Washita, or the Muskogee, Shalak. Okay. We gotta recon George Washington's connection with the Choctaw. And he's writing to the Choctaw, to the chief of the Choctaw Nation. You know, it's a good little letter. We ain't gotta get all of it. You got the drop. Brothers, I have sent Major Daltrey, one of our warriors, in order to convince you that the United States will remember the treaty they made with your nation 4 years ago. So if this is in '89, 4 years ago, is 1785. Right during the Chickamauga War. On the Canoe, guard and protect him and show him the places at which trading posts shall be established in order to furnish you with goods. Yeah, what's that? Goods, what's that? Whatever you need to fight the Chickamauga, Choctaw. Whatever you need to furnish your more and more war against the tribes of Hasharah right here in America. And when the said post shall be established, support them to the utmost of your power. Be attentive to what he shall say in the name of the United States, for he will speak only truth. Regard the United States as your firm and best support. This is to the Choctaw. 1789. This is to the Choctaw, 1789. And in 1792, Dragging Canoe dies of exhaustion from dancing after celebrating an alliance with the Choctaw. And George Washington just wrote to the Choctaw 3 years earlier in 1789 saying, remember these treaties, man, at your own peril. If you do anything to the contrary, we're going to come after you. '89, Choctaw. 1789, George Washington, who got reelected in 1792, reminds the Choctaw chiefs, listen to Major Daughtry now. He speaks only the truth. Regard the United States as your firm and best support. Keep bright the chain of friendship. Whoa. He's speaking in code. Of course, right? Of course. When they say friendship, Managa, they talking friendship. You dig? 1789, 1786. I can't make this stuff up. Boss. Nearly a decade before the treaty on the 20th of December, 1777. This is when it's popping off already with the Dragon Canoe and the Chickamauga, man. And these Moors came in and did treaties with the corporation. And these Moors are the same that George Washington is talking to in 1789. 1786, you got the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And he's saying, George Washington is saying, keep bright the chain of friendship in between the Chickasaws and your nation. Reject the advice of bad men who may attempt to poison your mind. So he's talking about Dragon Canoe and Tecumseh. He's talking about these orators. He's talking about Joseph Bryan and them. Don't let the truth get in your mind. Don't let the real ones poison your minds with suspicions against the United States Corporation. Don't let them tell you that you're on your own land. Don't let them tell you that this is your inheritance, natural by law. Don't let them poison your minds with truth against us. Don't let them tell you that they're the copper-colored races found here. Don't let them tell you that. Don't let them raise suspicions against us. Given under my hand and seal at the city of New York, 17th day of December, 1789. George Washington, by command of the President of the United States. It's the archives, boss. Who backdoored Dragon Canoe in 1792? We all want to know. They still trying to solve the Tupac, you know, assassination, right? But what happened to Tupac attack? What happened to the Inca? What happened with Charles V, Charles Kento? And what happened with George Washington and the Choctaw and the Chickamauga? George Washington had a complicated relationship with the Nagas, Native Americans. He was born into a world in which Native peoples were still major players in the Americas. Yeah, major players in the 1700s. Despite having suffered through 3 centuries of European diseases, dispossession, and warfare throughout his life, Washington negotiated with and served alongside Native peoples. He negotiated with the Choctaw, not the Chickamauga. He negotiated, you know, with the Confederacy, Psalms 83. Fought against others and sought their land for his own prosperity. This is why he couldn't make no treaties with Dragon Canoe and Tecumseh. First recorded his first encounter with Native Americans when he was 16 years old. Okay, that's good. Good for you. They keep bringing up this Mount Vernon, situation. That was a pivotal time for old George Washington. Our archaeologists have found artifacts from every era of human activity at Mount Vernon, dating at least as far back as 10,000 years. We cannot tell the story of the Virginia Washington knew and the nation he helped to found without including indigenous voices. Yeah, I guess so, man. Because you hijacking the Chickamauga. His actions on behalf of the British people and later the United States affected native peoples in often tragic ways. Yeah. This is what we finding out too, boss. Who's Greenwood LaFleur? Greenwood LaFleur? Oh man. Oh, Greenwood served as the elected principal chief of the Choctaw in 1830 before removal. Before that, the nation was governed by 3 district chiefs and a council of chiefs, a wealthy and regional influential Choctaw of mixed race. Mixed race. So this is them, like I said, this ain't against this investigation. It's not against all Choctaw Nagas, man. We gotta investigate the Cherokee Nagas, the Chickamauga Nagas, because you best believe some Chickamauga Nagas were a part of the backdooring of Dragon Canoe. The same way they tried to backdoor King David, the tribe of Judah was responsible for trying to backdoor King David. Your own people, your own Nagas, man, your own tribe. So yeah, mixed race, yeah, they're trying to mix in and use the maternal line. And this is all this Greenwood flow. They connected through the mothers, which is why the Jewish today always go through the mama line. And they say everything through the mama instead of everything through the seed. And they forgot about the seed. Because the seed will continue. The seed plays heavy. Let's go. Who belonged to the Choctaw Elite due to his mother's rank, right? So who's his daddy's rank? Like, You know, so they would rape our queens, rape our princesses, rape our mothers, our daughters. They would do that and then connect themselves through the rape to the motherline. And that's how they got their rank. And that's how they stole land and said they were. My grandmother was a Choctaw princess. Yeah, you raped your way in. You couldn't do that to the seed. You had to kill the seed. You had to kill the seed, man. They raped their ways into maternal matriarchies, and this is why people always think, oh, well, all this was a matriarchy. Either it was a matriarchy because of rape, or it was a matriarchy because all these Naga males were at war, and the amas, grandmas, and mamas had to hold it down, man, right there in the village, man. While these Nagas was on the front lines, it wasn't a matriarchy because they wanted it to be. It was a matriarchy by default, my Naga. Unless you got an account of all the Naga men staying at home and all the Naga queens just popping off and all these tribes. I'm not just talking about Amazon. I'm talking about your normal native tribe. Nah, man. A true queen appreciated the presence of her king at home. She wasn't trying to be a matriarchy. She wasn't trying to flex her power over her king. Her power was within her, within the seed, within the nourishment of the soil. She didn't have to boast over the seed. She is the seed. We got daughters, I got daughters, they are my seed, Con. They don't have to boast themselves over me. They are me. They are my seed. My daughter is me. She don't have to act like I don't exist. That's hijack city. But the hijack has to act like I don't exist. The hijack can only come through the mother's rank because they kill off the fathers. 1830, LaFleur led other chiefs in signing the Treaty of the Dancing Rabbit. Oh boy, follow the rabbit. Treaty which was signed September 27, 1830 and proclaimed on February 24, 1831 between the Choctaw American Indian tribe and the U.S. government. The treaty was the first removal treaty which was carried into effect. LaFleur was the first son of Rebecca Cravat, a high-ranking Choctaw daughter of Chief Pushmataha. And this is the Naga that was the opposition of Tecumseh, fought alongside Andrew Jackson, and even became a general in the U.S. Army. The most decorated native Indian Naga that became a general in the U.S. Army. Because the Choctaw had a matrilineal system. I wonder why. Now they could tie themselves to the daughters and forget about the seed, the true seed of the Choctaw, and now you don't know who you are. But this LaFleur connected, through the raping and pillaging into the maternal rank. First son of the Choctaw daughter of Chief Pushmataha. And now he's ruling the Choctaw through the mother rank, through the rape. Now you got more treaties easily popping off because he's a he's a son, he's a grandson of Pushmataha. Let's go. Who's George W. Harkins? George Washington Harkins, my nigga. Talking George Washington, right? Yeah, well, there's more George Washingtons, you know what I'm saying? Attorney, prominent chief of the Choctaw tribe during Indian removal. So So George Washington is writing to the chief of the Choctaw, and one of the chief of the Choctaw is George Washington, prominent chief of the Choctaw tribe. I just want to, I want to show you how this gets hijacked real fast. You know what I'm saying? So, elected as principal chief after the National Council disposed his maternal uncle Greenwood of LaFleur. So after Greenwood, we just read about, whose mother connects with the ranks of Pushmataha, he gets disposed, and here comes J.W. Harkins, elected judge of the Red River District in Indian Territory. Of course, he's elected judge, not because he's so smart, but because of his connection with LaFleur, with Pushmataha, with the hijacks that are in the treaties of the More and More War. Chief of the Apu Shunubi district of the Choctaw Nation, served until 1857. He's born in high status Choctaw through his mother, another LaFleur. All through the mamas. See, if they hijack the mamas, they can now weasel their way into the land and land rights and inheritance and titles and ranks. Oldest maternal uncle, traditionally the most important mentor to a boy child, was Greenwood LaFleur, the chief of the Choctaw. And then here he comes. And he's educated at the Central College in Danville, Kentucky. And even in the, The Simpsons or one of them, who got the Danville flow? Is it SpongeBob? I mean, one of these animated folks, be talking about Danville a lot because they know a lot of drop. And we're talking Kentucky again. And the Kentuckians are the ones that are responsible for the killing of Tecumseh. And he's educated right there in Kentucky, connected with the Choctaw, connected with Ishmael, Psalms 83 Confederacy, being played out right in your face, bone, in the late 1700s, early 1800s, man. Like we seen it right in our face. To proceed with Indian removal, President Andrew Jackson refused to recognize Harkins' authority with the tribe. After Indian removal, Harkins rose in influence in the tribe. 1834, he was elected judge of the Red River District in Indian Territory. The Council of Chiefs of the Indian District elected him a principal chief of the district, one of the three of the Choctaw Nation, where he served from 1850 to 1857. Here's what he wrote as he stepped out the door. It is considerable diffidence that I attempt to address the American people, knowing and feeling sensibly my incompetency in believing that your highly and well improved minds would not be well entertained by the address of a Choctaw. We were hedged in by two evils, and we chose that which we thought the least. So they had to choose the least of two evils, according to them. Yet we could not recognize the right that the state of Mississippi had assumed to legislate for us, although the legislature of the state were qualified to make laws for their own citizens that did not qualify them to become lawmakers to a people that were so dissimilar in manners and customs as the Choctaws are to the Mississippians. Admitting that they understood the people, could they remove that mountain of prejudice that has ever obstructed the streams of justice and prevent the solitary influence from reaching my devoted countrymen? We as Choctaws rather chose to suffer and be free than live under the degrading influence of laws which our voice could not be heard in their formation. Hey, too late, because once you made these treaties with the hijack, you were caught in between, and now you had to choose the lesser of two evils. You could have just chose up. I mean, everybody could do it again. I'm sure they would do a lot different. And keep reconning everything happening around this George Washington situation. Shout out to stateoftheunionhistory.com. We're talking about the Indian Intercourse Acts, preserving peace on the frontiers. Unless the murdering of Indians can be restrained by bringing the murderers to condign prison, of all the exertions of the government to prevent destructive retaliation by the Indians will prove fruitless, of all our present agreeable prospects illusory. George Washington, 1795. From 1776 until 95, right? That's all the Chickamauga flow, right? Huh? 1776 into 1795, right? That's the entire Chickamauga War. But you got to see it clearly. Now you see it clearly. We're talking the Chickamauga Wars. We're talking Dragon Canoe. We're talking Tecumseh. From 1776 until 1795, there was a series of back and forth raids, ambushes, full-scale battles between the frontiersmen and the Cherokee Indians during the latter years of what is now called the Cherokee Indian or Cherokee American War. President George Washington was attempting to negotiate treaties with the Cherokee. Treaties of peace and friendship. Hijack City. But murderers' actions by frontiersmen like John Beard led to further retaliation by Dragon Canoe and the Cherokee, right? In one instance, over 1,000 Chickamauga Indians. Whoa. 1,000 Chickamauga Indians led a massacre of settlers, including many children. Well, that Nat Turner fighting the invader flow. Washington wrote much about the Cherokee, and now in 1795, the president once again used the State of the Union address to discuss the Cherokee Indian relations. In his address, he wrote that the Creek and Cherokee Indians, who alone of the southern tribes had annoyed our frontiers. Remember, the Creek were tribed up with the Tecumseh, have lately confirmed their pre-existing treaties with us, but he lamented that American sincerity has been once more clouded by wanton murderers. Washington feared that retaliation of these murders put our frontiers at danger and would subject the nation to more effusion of blood. So let's pick it up here. It says 2 years later in 1792, right? It's when Dragon Canoe died. Washington pointed out to Congress that the basic provisions of law were not effective in reducing the crimes against the outrages upon the Indians. Something needed to be done to better define the laws and make it easier for them to be enforced. Washington recommended that Congress consider providing adequate provision for giving energy to the laws throughout our interior frontier and for restraining the commission of outrages upon the Indians. In response, Congress expanded the laws through the Intercourse Law of 1793, which named specific crimes including murder, robbery, larceny, trespass, and specified the proper courts to be used. But still, Washington believed this was not strong enough. So, in his 1795 State of the Union address, Washington was bluntly told Congress that it is demonstrated that these violences can now be perpetrated with impunity, and it can need No argument to prove that unless the murdering of Indians can be restrained by bringing the murderers to condign punishment, all the exertions of the government to prevent destructive retaliations by the Indians will prove fruitless. You can't keep killing Nagas with impunity. We walking through the streets now, hands up, don't shoot, hands up, I can't breathe, because of the killing of niggas with impunity. But who's the Indians? The same copper color race found here? Y'all read it, man. Y'all read it, man. So when they talk about the Cherokee Indian or American wars, they're just talking about the Chickamauga War. They call it a series of raids and campaigns and ambushes and minor skirmishes and several full-scale frontier battles, like the Battle of Tippecanoe, like the Battle of Thames, in the Old Southwest from 1776 to 1795 between the Cherokee and the American settlers or invaders in Nagaville. Most of the events took place in the Upper South region, while the fighting stretched across the entire period. But Naga, you weren't brought on a boat from Africa. You were here fighting, because it stretched across the entire period. There were extended periods with little or no action. The Cherokee leader, dragging Canoe, whom some historians call the Savage Napoleon, and his warriors and other Cherokee fought alongside and together with warriors from several other tribes, most often Muskogee, but somebody backdoored them. In the Old Southwest and the Shawnee in the Old Northwest during the Revolutionary War, they also fought alongside British troops, loyalists, militia, and King's Carolina, Caractacus, against the rebel colonists, hoping to expel them from their territory, expel them from their land. Open warfare broke out in the summer of 1776. We keep going back to that date. In the over mountain settlements of the Washington district, mainly those of the Watauga, Holston, Nolecookee, Dole rivers in eastern Tennessee, as well as the colonies, later states of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. It later spread to settlements along the Cumberland River, Middle Tennessee, and in Kentucky. The wars can be divided in two phases. The first phase took place from 1776 to 1783, in which the Cherokees fought as allies of the Kingdom of Britain against the American colonies. The Cherokee War of 1776 encompassed the entirety of the Cherokee Nation. At the end of 1776, the only militant Cherokee were those who migrated with dragon canoe. And the militant Cherokee is the Cherokee that didn't give up, that didn't do no deals, that didn't sign no treaties. And these militant Cherokee are regarded as Negroes today. And they're telling you militant Cherokee, Karakattai, the same as the Carolinas. Carolina is the same as the Karakee or Karakattai. Katai is Cathay, which means pure land. Kara means swarthy or copper color. Copper colored Nagas of the pure land are we the people, the real ones. The tribe migrating with the Gun Dragon to the Chickamauga towns. known as the Chickamauga Cherokee. Second phase lasted 1783 to 1794. The Cherokee served as proxies of the Viceroy of New Spain. Here we go, right? Hijack City against the recently formed United States of America because they migrated westward to the new settlements, initially known as the Five Lower Towns, referring to their location in the Piedmont. These people became known as Lower Cherokee. This term was used well into the 19th century. The Chickamauga ended their warfare November 1794 in the Treaty of Tellico Blockhouse. Have you heard of this treaty? And did it end in 1794, or did it continue into the Tecumseh War in 1812? Treaty signed November 8, 1794, marked the end of the Cherokee American War. Cherokee chiefs hanging Ma representing. Now remember, Dragon Canoe died 1792. Here we go. Who backdoored Dragon Canoe? Because whoever did this deal might be prime suspect, prime target, and he was probably there where Dragon Canoe was dancing, celebrating this alliance with the Muskogee and the Choctaw, this victory in their recent war. And then 2 years later, hanging Maul. Huh? I told you somebody from the inside. It wasn't just the Choctaw. Hanging Maul in them is now representing the upper Cherokee. When Dragon Canoe was representing the lower Cherokee, they got somebody representing the upper Cherokee along with their hijacked Colonel John Watt representing the lower Cherokee or the Chickamauga. So John Watt could have been responsible for the backdoor to Tecumseh directly because he was already representing the lower Cherokee or the Chickamauga. As well as hanging Maul, he had to be there, man. As well as some of these Muskogee and Choctaw, they had to make a confederacy to backdoor the homie, to backdoor the con, Dragon Canoe. And they met with Governor William Blount to put him in the mix to negotiate this backdoor hijack city. All sides agreed to recognize boundaries set forth in previous treaties. Balls. The first Treaty of Tellico, also known as Treaty with the Cherokee, negotiated 1797, again after the death of Dragon Canoe. And this is when Tecumseh picked it back up and he picked that flag back up, man, and went right back at the hijack. Yeah, that's that Tellico Treaty. It's giving us some insight into the back door of the dragon. Because he on a warpath, boss. 1786, Mohawk leader Joseph Bryan again, right? Major war chief of the Iroquois had organized the Western Confederacy of Tribes to resist American settlement in Ohio. The Lower Cherokee were founding members and fought in the Northwest Indian War that resulted from the conflict. The Northwest Indian War ended with the Treaty of Greenville, 1785. Or 95. So 1795, Northwest Indian War. And who's the Northwest? Again, we're talking Northwest of Maxim, balls. Uh-oh. Do you see clearly? Because it's an untold hush-hush history about the Moors. That's like a big secret. And while they're making their Moorish treaties on you for the Northwest Africa, the Northwest Indian wars are popping off. right? Yeah. Northwest Indian War for Northwest America. Yeah, boss. Yeah, boss. So he keeps saying 1785, end of the Chickamauga War. Kept going to 1794, 1795, which is still the same Northwest Nagas, the Chickamauga. And then who picks it back up? Tecumseh. And from 1811 on up, it is up, it is up, it is up, it is up, my Naga, it is up. By that time, it's too late. They should have came as a Confederacy a long time ago. They should have been helping here instead of making the treaties of peace and friendship. Now they trying to choose between the least of the two evils. It's too late now, man. You made a deal with a Maxim, Atlantis in there. 1786. So the Northwest Indian War ended with the Treaty of Greenville. Treaty of Greenville gave up a gang of land. Where do we get that at? Britannica.com. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Little Turtle from the Miami now. He seeded the future state of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, boss. We talking Greenville, right? 1795. As the invaders moved into the Northwest Territory in the years following the American Revolution, their advance was opposed by a loose alliance of mainly Algonquin speaking people, the Shawnee and the Delaware, both of whom had been driven west by prior territorial encroachments, joined the Ottawa, Ojibwa, Miami, Potawatomi, and the Northwest Indian Confederation led by Little Turtle. Native American Confederation skirmished with settlers and Kentucky militia. Yeah, tried to pacify. But Little Turtle already gave up Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. That's pretty much all they needed to plant a flag. Ishmael migrated 1785, same year. Joined the Kentuckians and then set up their mountain of harmonics all across Danville. Here we go again with the Danville, right? What's it got to do with the tribe of Dan? What's it got to do with the more science tipple that pin broke ball? But clearly they gave up Ohio, Indiana, right? Illinois, all that. Why they lost? And they set up their cities, Muhammad, Mecca, Morocco, Cairo, right? Because the tribe of Ishmael, Ben Ishmael, were a collection of Runaway slaves? No, I think they're migrating military, and they tribed up through treaties with the native cons like the Choctaw, poor whites, right? WIGHT created a colony in Kentucky, and the Kentuckians were responsible for the slaying of Tecumseh. Do you see clearly? What happened in Kings Mountain, 1780, the Battle of Kings Mountain, won by colonial backwoodsmen in the midst of the conditions not unlike those of 1813 when Kentuckians won the Battle of Thames. Yeah, Kentuckians won the Battle of Thames. And it's related to this Muhammad, this Mecca, this Morocco that the tribe of Ishmael migrated right into at the same damn time, 1785. Same damn time. As the Chickamauga War, Northwest Maxim War is popping off. Northwest Indian War, right? Seeded with the Treaty of Greenville, where they gave up Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. The conclusion of the Indian Wars enabled the settlement of what had been called Indian Territory in the Royal Proclamation of 1763 and culminated in the first Trans-Appalachian States, Kentucky. Ooh, in the same year, 1792. Crazy, right? You see all the similarities coming together. We're just talking about Chickamauga, 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 so-called Cherokee American War. Talking worlds beyond the pole. The same way they call this a new world, they call all these other lands new worlds as they so-called explore, so-called settle, and all they're doing is invading promised land. And that's why dragging canoes on a warpath. My nigga surfing the wave with me. I am sure surfing the wave with you. Shout out to TNGENWE.org. History of Campbell County, Tennessee. Canoe, Chickamauga, Cherokee by Dallas Bogan. Let's go. Now I'm just getting you to the water, man. It's up to you to walk through the door. Dragging canoe, often called the Tecumseh of the South. Whoa. was one of the Cherokee tribe's most devoted chiefs. He angrily opposed the terms of the deal in which the Cherokee Nation signed away some of their valuable land to the whites and received very little return. He broke away from Cherokees in 1776, forming an aggressive wing, an aggressive wing of the tribe known as the Chickamauga. Dragon Canoe strongly recommended that the patriotic Cherokees to join in parting of the tribe. After this episode, they settled at various places along the main stream south known as the Chickamauga Creek. It was therefore appropriate to call themselves the Chickamaugas. Dragon Canoe was the son of a famous narrator, Chief Atakula Kula. Dragon Canoe chose for his headquarters the site of an ancient Creek village of the Chickamauga near present-day northeast Chattanooga, Tennessee. Many well-known chiefs joined him, Chief Ostenaco among them. This old Indian had fought side by side with George Washington on the Virginia frontiers and knew intimately. He knew not only our first president, but only likes Thomas Jefferson, but also the likes of Thomas Jefferson and Henry. Dragon Canoe's brother, Chief Little Owl, also traveled with him and settled on the Chickamauga less than 2 miles upstream. The first celebration of Independence Day, July 4, 1776, took place at Fort Patrick Henry, where Kingsport, Tennessee now stands. Sometimes previous to that day, the whites invited the Cherokees to a meeting of the two forces. The white man's main object was to win the Indians from the side of the British. Totally ignoring the meeting called, Dragon Canoe on that first 4th of July remained at home in the Chickamauga town, puffing on his trusted pipe. The American representatives had invited the Cherokees who were present and were still allies of the British to join in the celebration. The Cherokees were totally ignorant concerning the Americans' Declaration of Independence and had no idea what the celebration was all about. But now my niggas, you popping off, right? Now you popping off, right? Hijack City. During the readings of the manuscript, the tribe listened and joined in with the whites, not knowing what was going on, dancing merrily with them. However, in just a few days, they again returned to the British and resumed their mutual warfare against the Americans. After a few years before, Dragon Canoe chose Chickamauga as his headquarters. A Scotch trader by the name of John MacDonald was appointed assistant superintendent of the British concerns in the South. MacDonald's place of residence soon became a prominent meeting place for Tories and Cherokees. Henry Hamilton of Detroit, Michigan, then governor of the Northwest Territory, had supplied MacDonald's site with thousands of dollars worth of supplies for the Indians' use in their warfare against the whites. Most of their supplies had been brought by horseback from Pensacola, Florida. Everything seemed satisfactory with MacDonald and Dragon Canoe until one spring morning, April 1779, when a multitude of soldiers numbering about 600 men in command of Colonel Evan Shelby and John Montgomery floated down the Tennessee River from Fort Patrick Henry. Upon reaching the mouth of the Chickamauga Creek, this party captured a fisherman and made him lead the whites to Dragon Canoe's center of operations. Whoa. They used a naga to find Dragon Canoe. Some 7 miles upstream, the party of 600 whites caught the Indians by surprise, burnt the village to the ground. At the time, Dragon Canoe was away from home, so the whites had little difficulty defeating the remaining Cherokees. Sounds like the same as Tecumseh when he was away, tribing up with the Nagas in Ontario. They attacked the Battle of Tippecanoe. They attacked Prophettown, man. Halal HaWah, Tecumseh's brother, the prophet, had to lead that charge. So a lot of very similar things happening, man. Let's get a little more. We're talking about Dragon Canoe. 1792, 3 years later, John Sevier entered with his mounted troops and destroyed Chickamauga town and other Chickamauga villages along with Little Owl's village. 14 years later, John Sevier was elected the first governor of Tennessee. After the devastation of his villages, Dragon Canoe moved south of the present-day Chattanooga, where he formed what later became known as the five lower towns of Cherokee. Dragon Canoe was struggling to regain some of the valuable land the Cherokees had lost. Joining his band was many persons of mixed blood, some cutthroats, robbers, murderers, all of which took advantage of the situation and joined the Chickamauga. So he tried to with everything he had left, man, because he knew this was the last stand for the night. For many years afterwards, these thieves attacked and robbed the early immigrants as they descended the Tennessee in flatboats looking for home sites and in approving situations in other parts of the country. History states that the headquarters for the most energetic groups of these misfits was at Nickajack, a few miles down the river from Chattanooga. The atrocities of these villains were basically blamed on Dragon Canoe, for which he was not responsible. Dragon Canoe died March 1792 at Running Water, where he was buried. So we're gonna have another national Naga Strong, Happy Naga Strong, right around March, my Naga. So this village was near the present Hell's Bar, below Chattanooga Running Water, the mountain stream which continues to bear its old name. Chief Black Fox said the Dragon Canoe has left the world. He was a man of great consequence to his country. He was friend both to his own and the white people. Hey man, dodge your own hijack. Because he certainly wasn't a friend to this hijack invading our land over here. Dragon Canoe was the first cousin of Nancy Ward, the beloved Cherokee woman who was highly respected by the whites. Okay. After the Cherokees had struggled courageously to hold their lands and homes in the South, the greedy whites succeeded at last in ousting them. Their doom was sealed 1838 when the last of the 14,000 Cherokees were removed west. A few thousand of them took off by boats from Chattanooga. Others went in wagons and on foot across the lands. 4,000 died on the journey. A few hundred Cherokees managed to escape to the mountains of western North Carolina, preferring death by starvation rather than be forced to abandon their own lands they loved so well. Today we have within a few hours' drive of Chattanooga the Cherokee Indian Reservation of western North Carolina. As a result of those Indians who escaped, the Cherokees are now citizens of the United States. Damn. And they furnished many brave soldiers in both wars. According to John P. Long, Chattanooga's first postmaster, who lived among the Cherokees, the word Chickamauga means sluggish water, or as we got before, it means river of death. John P. Brown, author of Old Frontiers, however, says it means dwelling place of the war chief. And you can dig on this one, as you dig further, man, on this war of independence. But we're talking about our freedom. You see how it cuts into this Thomas Jefferson flow and George Washington flow ever more deeply, man. Thomas Jefferson clearly described the role of American Indians in the American Revolution. In addition to his other oppressive acts, King George III had endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of the frontiers, the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. These niggas ain't on no play. Inscribed in the founding document of the United States, also a sacred text Jefferson's words placed Indians on the wrong side of the struggle for liberty and the wrong side of history from the very beginning of the Revolution. Thus, while Americans fought for their rights and freedoms, Jefferson argued that Native Americans fought against them, the vicious pawns of a tyrannical king. And Georgie was also a black man, swarthy. He's on the penny of the Barbados penny we just dug on last one. Go get the drop. Straight up Naga. So whether we're talking about black ass King Charles or black ass King George, man, and whoever the vicious pawns are of the tyrannical king, we know that there's treaties at play. And we know it's a more and more war. You know, just belly flopping, but there's so much drop to get in here. For Native Americans, this translated into a dual assault on their lands and cultures, which was inextricably linked. In the years following the Revolution, American settlers invaded Indian country. The hijack invaded Nagaville. So too, at different times and places, did American soldiers, Indian agents, land speculators, treaty commissioners, and missionaries. Indians fought back. You weren't no homeborn slave, man. The Naga fought back. They disputed American claims to their homelands, killed trespassers, and sometimes inflicted stunning defeats on hijacked armies because they're not the American. Not until General Anthony Wayne defeated the Allied Northwestern tribes at the Battle of Fallen Timbers, another full-scale war. This is after the death of Dragon Canoe, and I think this was the last push of those that were, rocking real close with Dragon Canoe, including Tecumseh. And this General Anthony Wayne has a lot to do with the Fort Wayne Treaty. In the Treaty of Fort Wayne, Managa, you gave up over 30 million acres of land. 30 million acres of land. In the Treaty of Greenville, you gave up Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, parts of Kentucky, right? Ceded most of Ohio to the United States. Then Indians turned to more suitable forms of resistance in what remained of their homelands, comprising where they had no choice, compromising where they had no choice. Now we're walking around protesting, right? No more fight. We're just asking Congress. We just want to vote now. Adapting and adjusting to changes, preserving what they could of Indian life and culture, and a nation that was intent on eradicating both. So no matter how much you want to preserve your culture, you're fighting. HaWah said, I'll bring a fierce nation upon you, a nation of fierce countenance that don't know your language, don't care about your customs, don't make no distinguishment between young and old. A nation that was intent on eradicating both. They're intent on eradicating both your culture and your life. Both. The American nation won its war for independence in 1783. Not the copper color races found here. We're talking about the hijack. After All the Chickamauga War, American Indian Wars for independence continue long after Khan, and their ongoing struggles for their rights, like civil rights on Martin Luther King. Yep. And their tribal sovereignty within the constitutional democracy that grew out of the American Revolution. Some would say Native Americans are still fighting. Well, are you Negroes? Are you blacks still fighting? That you call blacks and Negroes and African Americans. Are you African Americans still fighting to realize the promise, to get to the promised land? Civil rights with Indian rights, man. Who backdoored it? Who backdoored Dragon Canoe, man? Where we going with this jabroni? Oh, black ass Charles boy. Civil rights was Indian rights. Con. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I've never seen someone so standing over a burning dead body than these hijacked jabronis right here. You see the pride in their eyes, the joy they get out of burning a human as if they're not anything but an animal. happy, joyful, peaceful, standing over you. Is it play play? Niggas in these hijacks in the back. What happened? They had the kids, man. The kids were happy. He said, "Hey son, come watch this nigga burn." And their grandchildren and great grandchildren today come from the same fested, infected, poisonous, parasitic frequency. And they would just as well see a nigga burn with a smile on their face. Now, who created this? Who created these? Now we're back at the more and more war. Because this ain't natural. It ain't natural to be this happy, even standing over your enemy. You give them something to kill, it's going to put a smile on their face. This is the charred corpse of Will Brown. After being killed, mutilated, and burned during the Omaha race riot of 1919. These are the same Indians, the same Nagas, fighting in the Seminole Creek Wars and all that in the 1800s. Now they call it civil rights. Now it's about politics. All this coming fresh off the Chickamauga Wars. 1800s went right into this. So now you can bridge the gap a little bit. That the Civil Wars are the Indian War. Continue. This was the beginning of you putting down your weapons, right? You're just trying to fight in a civil way. You got the Jim Crow, you know what I mean? And obviously, that goes into the whole separate but equal, you know, Plessy versus Ferguson flow. All this is a continuation of the Tecumseh War, the Dragon Canoe War, the Chickamauga War, however they want to paint the picture. Indian Act to amend and consolidate the laws respecting Indians. It's a Canadian act of parliament. Remember Dragon Canoe or Tecumseh was killed? Ontario, Canada, right? So that concerns registered Indians, their bands, and systems of Indian reserves first passed 1876. It says how reserves and bands can operate. Sets out rules for governing Indian reserves, defines how bans can be created. I mean, they just take advantage of everything, right? Marriage, everything. What's a reserve? Hey, said to be held for the use and benefit of the Indian. Subject to this act, reserves are held by Her Majesty for the use and benefit of their respective bands. Okay, what's a band? Body of Indians, but not just any body of Indians. Legal title to which is invested in Her Majesty have been set apart. All right. So what's an Indian? Oh, well, you're talking about First Nations people is the question of defining who they are. Who are the Indians of the Indian Act? And this aspect of legislation has been an ongoing source of controversy throughout its history. Not all people who self-identify as Aboriginal are considered Indians under the terms of the Act. Only those of the official Indian registrar. So people like Dragon Canoe ain't gonna fit under this. They fighting the hijack to the death. Only those making treaties are going to be official Indian registrar maintained by the federal government. Only the hijack will have a list of those that they messing with and those that they're not messing with. That's called the ban list. They give you the status if you're official or not, right? Yeah. Con. Okay. Remember the Shikamawa, man. Remember the Canoe. Remember he on the warpath, man. And Dragon Canoe ain't letting up, man. Remember the guardians with torches, and the torches are the words, Manaka. The words are the frequency. That's only if you want a life of Shalawah. And get them evil wild beasts out your head, filled with them robbers. Because Dragon Canoe's on a warpath. You know damn well why he's on a warpath. You know damn well why Dragon Canoe became Dragon. Because you're giving up millions of acres of land. And it ain't the land worth fighting for. Not if you think you're on some boat from Africa, it ain't. Not if you think you are not the copper colored races found here. Not brought here, boss. Found here, copper colored con. Ooh, ah. And they finding you here like they finding you everywhere. In this 1,000-year-old map of Japan, more lands be opposed, man. We coming in hot with more beyond the pole. We're gonna do some land beyond the pole dismount. Just 'cause it's been so heavy with this Dragon Canoe, Tecumseh, War of 1812, fighting the hijack. I figured, man, let's have a great flat drop 101 dismount. Love to the fam. Italian PNC, I think that's what they call you. Let's get some Italian PNC for the dismount, man. We belly flopping, man. And it's great to expand because they're calling you the new world. And only a hijack will call you the new world. Hey, come drive my luxury car through the new world. Where's my spaceships? Where's my flying golden condor, man? Where's my things? Where's my stuff, man? Italian PNC, I'm gonna need you to take the wheel, boss. Don't worry, man. It's gonna get less blurry. We got y'all. Let's get it.
Better here, because we just traced the colony of Antipoda, so we now know that they actually went.
Okay, it's okay.
all the way into like the main area here, and they established multiple colonies. In part, we have Mesothermia, and of course, as we already saw,
I know it's blurred right now. You know, I got y'all. I got y'all. You know, Hijack City always want to make things difficult, man. But Time PC got a very intricate map here.
well, earlier we have, I guess the Nupur.
Let's
Nah,
go.
I don't want to count the Nupur Republic since it's Scottish and British. I mean, not really English. Of course, we have the Kingdom of Thermometalla, and we have the like British vassal state here, and also this thing, which I assume it's not really said, but I assume it's also. Oh wait, maybe not. Oh wait, yeah, British settlers. I read that, so I'm gonna assume this is part of the British Empire. So we have British influence. Oh, this one too. So we have even more British influence. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get to that later, though. Let's get these first. So the city of Mesothermia is a British trade hub and naval base which played a significant role in the U.S. rebellion against the Spanish, now seeking to return to their newfound allies against the French.
All right, you see Moroccan population. You see this Morocco. Keep the treaties, Treaty of this Peace and French and Moroccan Treaty in mind. They're talking British flow. Keep the whole flow with the Tecumseh flow in mind. As we're talking about lands beyond the poles, and we gotta think bigger, man, because their invasion of America here has much bigger consequences for these lands and these vortexes across the poles, man. This ain't no play. Shout out Italian PSC.
Then we have, let me check, the Nuevas Baleares, a former Spanish colony home to Spanish colonials who fled the Yahusa. Sardinian and Catalan are prominent languages here. That is very interesting. I have never heard of something that actually mentions Sardinian as a possible colonizer language. It's so rare. Probably because the Sardinians were very isolated in their history until the actual kingdom of people in Sardinia was, which makes sense since apart from the ports, they kind of like to remain in the hinterlands. Which, no, it's an island, so why would it be like? But at the same time, I realized that all the times they did actually come near the ports, they would be conquered by other peoples, like the Carthaginians, the Romans, the Aragonese, the, I don't know, Byzantines, Muslims, and so on and so forth. Then we have the Calo-Korean Confederacy. Ruled by enterprising pirate adventurers, this lawless state is known as a gathering place for all manners of social rejects. Well, it's pretty small and doesn't look like it's very relevant, so I don't think it's going to be a big problem. But here, bordering Mesothermia, we actually have the Yahusa, which appears to be what's the city of Mesothermia had a role in, the Republic of Yahusa. Probably returned to its former glory after spending a period of time under the Spanish heel. They have a very traditional way of understanding republicanism, harkening all the way back to Carthage. So we have finally where the Carthaginians actually went, apparently, which is great since we were searching for that earlier. Let me just get the actual thing here. Yeah. So now we actually know where the Carthaginians actually went. Apparently, can't say this is the only part they went to, but at least we're 100% sure that this is actually one of the places where they actually arrived to. It is kind of far away when you think about it, but at the same time, these islands, or I mean, this continent does move, as it's been explained. So it wouldn't make.
Now you just saw Thoth, Thoth the continent, right? So just keep in mind, man, this Thoth plays heavy.
Too much issues for it to actually, move around and change location. Wait, where is it? Oh yeah, here. So maybe it was closer once the Carthaginians arrived.
And look at this Malik faith, and they see this cube, and it looks like the same as their cube or harmonics flow. The native tradition is the most organized and fervorous of native Thothian religions. So would Islam be considered a Thothian religion? Yeah, if you connect it with the angel Gabriel, their angel Gabriel, the Muhammad flow connected directly with the tribes of Ishmael, primarily practiced and promoted by the Makazu, Makamazu Empire. Managa is a play.
Then we have the Moroccan population. Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's all the way split into these territories, which are independent. After the collapse of Moroccan colony, the two native ethnic groups took control and plunged the island in a civil war. So there was an ethnic Moroccan colony at some point, apparently. Interesting, very interesting.
Okay.
Huh. And at some point, Morocco collapsed, and that is why they are now independent. But they have like pockets of Moroccan population sprinkled in.
More and more.
Very interesting, honestly. Very, very interesting. Then we have, Dutch colony. Those are rare. Which is weird considering the Adjective or whatever that thing is. Oh wait, now that makes sense. It's actually gone. The Netherlands is gone. It's now Batavia.
Hands behind the pole.
Very sad. Which means probably doesn't make sense to connect it. Just let's remember that the 14 is Warmekkener Kust. Warmekkener Kust is a colony of the, or an ex-colony of the King of Netherlands, currently facing a native former rebellions that war but became in a new Sudal and prepared to swoop in and take the land for themselves. I don't know what either of those things are. Oh my god. Then the Republic of Lombota, natives and nativized rural settlers rebelling against the Warmekust rulers. So yeah, we have a conflict between these two groups. And finally we have a French colony here. Strangely enough, we will not see the French anywhere, which is very weird considering they are one of the major powers of colonial expansion to the Second Ring, as was seen in the continent of Aten and...
Hey, say what you want. You know, there ain't a lot of substantiating recon talking about this invasion into the outer ring, and so we can't talk about this invasion of America without talking about the invasion happening everywhere, boss. And you see old Thoth the Moving Island and everything we've been talking about has a big controlling factor into why they call you and us here the New World. And what's the Serpent's Gate about?
And even partially, I believe, in the continent of Indonesia. But in this case, it appears the only actual colonial effort they put in, apparently, maybe this one too, but apparently in this area, it's only this little island here, or this collection of small islands, and it's basically nothing. It's called Backdoored and is not relevant at all. Then we have the Barbadian cane, or this of the, okay, whatever. It's Venetian port. When Italy mentioned, when Venice mentioned. Big boy. Okay, cool, very cool. So Venice, okay, Venice is gone, but you know what I mean. They used to have a bunch of colonies here. We have one here, just from Venice. Let's just color it in the green color for Italy, since Venice is actually gone. I know it's technically independent at this point, but you know, it just makes me happy. Okay, so Barbadian cane is a Venetian state. Okay, so we have actually Austrian colony that survived as an Austrian colony, which is very, very rare. It's extremely rare in this timeline for Austrian colonies to actually go their way, apparently at least. So it is very interesting that they actually managed to have one decently surviving colony. Very interesting again, because we know the deal with the New Schwabenland, which is this one, was that they owned they owned the land, but they were not the original colonizers, so it was were the Spanish. But here we have a naturally completely Austrian.
Here it says a Thothian bearded hound, unrelated to domesticated dogs in the known world. The canines of Thoth are descended from Colpeel foxes, which were domesticated in Tierra del Fuego. That's right near Antarctica, boss, right? And past Antarctica, you got the land of Thoth, or Thoth the Moving Island. So they're not like the other dogs. They're domesticated from these other foxes. Swiper and swiping, cynocephali, dog-headed men. Tierra del Fuego by the proto-Yanghan people that originally settled Thoth. Whoa. Thoth was a he thought Thoth was just your thought, man. Let's go.
colony. So it's interesting. And it's New Sudalpen, which is literally New South Alps. So kind of sounds like the Australia region, New South Wales, whatever. Lowland settlers and support from Europe, so the colonial governance focuses.
And this Malik faith, this cube flow, goes right back to the Baal flow. You see it right there. So the biblical flow goes heavy into all the worlds beyond the pole, especially when they talk about their idol worship, their Baal, their Bays and Els.
Focuses on keeping native population at peace and loyal for religious, linguistic, and cultural education. We've done a surprisingly good job so far, but the Makamazuk aren't happy about the spread of Catholicism so close to the border. And the Makamazuk are this huge, like multi-region spanning empire, which is, I assume, the biggest of all powers in the entire South continent, which is honestly surprising. It was not expected to be this big. So, the Makamazuk Empire is an empire that began its rise 4 centuries ago and has reached the zenith of its power and influence. The core territories of the empire have been systematically assimilated via religious conversion and the construction of the Al-Zaz temples, serving as economic, religious, and administrative hubs of their respective cities.
Man, they got human beings walking around all these lands beyond the poles, and we over here stuck within Antarctica, fighting over Africa and America and Europe. And they over here, they got British territories outside the wall.
I'm going to assume this is a post-Carthaginian state, if I have not read it already, simply because the Al-Zaz temple sounds something like Carthaginians would do, and also the people here don't really look South Native American, they just look like Middle Eastern maybe, and all whites. Also, this is where it went down. So this is the center of the actual Carthaginian voyage. Here. Also, we have another funny creature here, the lycopods, always hoping they are scarcely standing still. When they stand still, they look you in the eye and they tell you the date of your death and also your coordinates, your IP, and probably even your mother's maiden name. Yes, that is also true. The Thothian bearded hounds are related to domesticated dogs in the known world. The canines of Thoth are descended from Culpio foxes, which were domesticated in Tierra del Fuego by the Proto-Yanghan peoples that originally settled, so the Southern Native Americans of Patagonia. Also, we have a local girl here, a charming, immunoral woman. If we remove the...
Whatever they're calling immunoral woman, look like a regular Naga princess, man. How many Nagas are there beyond the wall?
Wait. Oh, I can't remove it. She's defaced forever. Very sad. We have more British territories, more British vessels here in the colony of Romans land, which sounds like Romans land, whatever. Who needs to win the favor of an exotic great power when you can bribe their upper class and colony and undermine them instead? That's definitively a British thing to do, that's for sure. Then we have this fucking mess of a name that I'm not even going to try. The aristocrats of this French-controlled territory have won the favor of the Makamazuk. They are enthusiastic and unenthusiastic, albeit detached interest in their native religion and tradition.
Beyond the wall.
We have a colony of Portugal. Whoa, Portuguese colony? Color me surprised. I'm joking.
And all this is happening outside the gates, whether you go out the Tiger's Gate, Sentinel's Gate, Serpent's Gate, We're all talking Dragon's Gates. And it's mind blasting, I know. But this is all about stretching your bone. It's all about your mind bone, man. Remember, guard your gates. Guard all your gates, man, with torches. Sentinel Gate, Serpent's Gate, you know. What they have here, the Tiger's Gate, man. Guard all your gates with torches. Your mind is your land, man. Is your city, right? And you don't want to be a city which is desolate. Like HaWah said, our land's gonna be desolate because it's been captured. Yeah. That hijack in you, that wild beast in you has already trampled on your city within you. It can't trample on your city outside of you without trampling on your city within you. For thoughts which are not good, out of code, are evil wild beasts. And your city will be filled with robbers, and you will not be able to acquire Shalawah, but only all kinds of hijacked, savage, wild beasts. It happens within you first, and then you manifest it outside of you. The wicked one, which is a tyrant, is Lord over these, which is within you. Because you got the evil wild beast in your thoughts, right? Arm yourself and your soldiers, which are the words. So how do you arm the words? You arm the words with frequency. Before you speak it, you got to feel this, man. That's how you get your soldiers, your commanders, your council, your mind bone, all in tune, all in frequency with the guiding principle, which is the code. You don't want the whole city to perish, man. Because if Jerusalem falls, that means your soul has fallen. Remove yourself from these things, O wretched soul. Bring your guide and your teacher. The mind is the guide. The reason is the teacher. They will bring you out of destruction and danger. Listen, my son, my daughter, to my advice. Do not show your back to enemies and flee, but rather pursue them as a strong one. This is how you got to pursue your own thoughts that are evil. Be not an animal with men pursuing you, but rather be a man, be a woman with you pursuing the evil wild beasts, lest somehow they become victorious over you. Trample your city, trample upon you as on a dead man, and you perish due to their wickedness. Oh my knock, wretched man, what will you do if you fall into their hands? Protect yourself lest you be delivered into the hands of your enemies. Entrust yourself to this pair of friends, reason and mind. And no one will be victorious over you. Khan, no one, no one, my nigga, will be victorious over you. May HaWah dwell in your camp. May his Ruach protect your gates. May the mind of divinity protect the wall. Let holy reason become a torch in your mind, because you're guarding your gates with torches. You're guarding your mind bone with dragon fire, my nigga. Burning the wood, which is the whole of sin, out of coldness. You're burning it up. And if you do, these things, oh my son, my daughter, you will be victorious over all your enemies, and they will not be able to wage war against you. Neither will they be able to resist, nor will they be able to get in your way. For if you find these, You will despise them as deniers of truth. They will speak to you, cajoling you, enticing you, not because they are afraid of you, but because they are afraid of those who dwell within you, namely the guardians of the divine and the teaching, the framer and the shaper. Who backdoored Dragon Canoe? Those that were against the divinity and the teaching, the reason and the mind, the framer and the shaper. The water drop nation for taking another journey, 9 ether, man, 9 above the barrier. We searching for the lands beyond the barrier. But first we searching for the land within us, the cities that are captured, the evil wild beasts that have infiltrated our thoughts. You gather within yourself, you tribe up within yourself, you go through a door within yourself. Then you're ready to tribe up with others. But if you haven't gone through this, you ain't ready. So take your time, learn to resist the hijack that is enticing you, my nigga. Not because they are afraid of you, but because they are afraid of HaWah that dwells within you. The guardians, the dragons, with the torches protecting your gates. Halal HaWah Shabbatah. Keep climbing, keep rising, and stay on Kum Shabbatah. The water for your water that flows, you know what I'm saying, to our tribe, and look out for us as we continue to build within ourselves. We might take a break just to get our thoughts right, you dig? We might let it all go just to find the purified seed, the substance to continue with. So we can despise the hijack as deniers of truth because we done found it. We done found the gem. And like a diamond we shine because of the pressure we had to go through. And still we rise, still we come. The water. I pray you had a Baruch Day of Atonement, Tabernacles. You got your wilderness flow. You released what you had to release. Now it's time to increase, my naga. Da-ba-wa, increase. Say it with me. Da-ba-wa, increase. Say it with me, my naga. Da-ba-wa, allow.